North Carolina, Illinois. There was one in New York I didn't go to. These are major tournaments that I had to pass up. And see what happens next year. But it's a daunting task trying to schedule her for treatment when we're on the road. So it's getting it can be overwhelming, all the stuff that I have to do. So that's a scoop. I got up early this morning, did my treadmill deal, took a shower, fed the cat. Now I'm got my feet up on the desk, drinking a cup of coffee, talking to my radio pals. So thank God for ham radio. It's an out when you're dealing with all of these other issues. WA1Y.
K1GMM, leave a little break in there. Yeah, right. I back in February, I put the brakes on everything radio-wise, and hopefully I don't forget, but I wanted to ask you a question about Marie, and the situation there. But I should have put the horse before the cart. But yeah, we had a few big whammer bammers storms come through here, and finally the last one got me and suffered some pretty decent damage. Got more damage. I got to go take a tree out, which fell about a week ago, up back right in the middle of the yard. Didn't get an antenna, but antenna system's been all overhauled, and still on the same antenna here on this band, but it's a multi-bander now. So I don't have any moving parts anymore, no more maintenance. I went and I cut everything up, didn't bother to put it back up again. So I'm down to just single elements, except for I got a 20-meter Moxon suspended at about 60, 65 feet, pointed over towards Europe for 20 meters. But that's the only beam type antenna I have now. So it's kind of nice, but I didn't spend, geez, dude, I didn't even turn the radio on till, sometime in July. Too much going on, but it's nice. I've been on it more over the past 2 or 3 weeks, so which not quite every day, but when I get some time, just tired, and oftentimes like I'm doing right now, probably sitting here talking just to hear myself talk. So I'm kind of like, whatever. But yeah, it's nice to hear you. Think about you a lot. The question regarding Marie, do you have to, when she does her dialysis, do you have to go somewhere to have that done, or do you have a machine that you do it? The reason why I ask is because I had a friend that, Tom, he's Silent Key now, but he was on dialysis and he had a machine that he brought with him. So I was curious about that, if it's something that she can do, you can help her with, or it's something that has to be done at a facility or medical facility or something like that. Go ahead, K1GMM.
Okay, Steve. No, we go to a dialysis center. I was considering, and I still may at some point, doing dialysis at home. There are a couple of different options. But you have to get trained up on the process with these particular machines at a dialysis center. I think the training is somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks before they would allow you to have the machine at home and do all that stuff. Now, they're smart machines where if there's a problem, people can dial into them and help you along. But we haven't done that. So to answer your question, we go to a dialysis center. It's 3 times a week. She's on the machine for 3 hours. And it just kills the day. By the time she gets up in the morning, gets ready, take her, she gets on the machine, I go pick her up. It eats up the whole day. So that takes care of that. And it doesn't leave me much time to do anything. I know when I'm doing that there, I drop her off, and then I got a couple of hours in between, and I really can't get started on any projects around the house. Just not enough time, because I need to take a shower and all that good stuff. any projects of substance anyway. So that's the story with that. But yeah, we consider the thing with the dialysis at home. If you're doing hemodialysis, there are two different types. There's the hemodialysis, which is the blood dialysis, and then you've got the peritoneal, which is the fluid around the stomach. When you do that, that has to be done every day. The hemodialysis with the machine at home has to be done 4 times a week, my understanding is, versus 3 times at the dialysis center. And I think it's got something to do with the volume that the commercial machines in the dialysis centers process versus the home machine. I think. I'm not absolutely sure, but I was told that when you do dialysis at home, you add an extra day, I believe. So, but that's something that would be clarified if we ever decided to do that. So that's the story with that, Steve. But it's certainly life altering. There's no question about it. And then her mobility is not very good. So that's a challenge. And I don't know what the hell's going to happen if she gets to the point where she can't get up a few stairs to get into the house. So it freaking sucks. I got to tell you. Yeah, freaking sucks. So anyway, that's the story. It sucks to the point that I'm considering going to my local funeral service and take care of paying for services for both her and I, giving that some serious consideration. I probably will do that before the end of the year. So anyway, that's where we are, buddy. Unfortunately, I guess it's reality. WA1Y.
WA1QEH.
Hey, what's going on? I'll put it over to you, Lou. Coming your way. You can answer this on the next go around. I was curious how old you guys are. You are retired. I think you're retirement age, right? You must be, because you get to go shooting and stuff. I don't know if you took an early retirement or how old you guys are. Just curious. And yeah, Tom had to do it. He had to do it every day with the machine. He did it himself. Him and Brenda. So, and I was curious, second question, did they, is a transplant in the works or is it an option? I don't know much about it, but he was waiting on a transplant. So if that's too much information, just say not gonna talk about it. So I'm just curious. Anyways, go ahead, Lou. Good morning. K1GMM.
Yeah, good morning, Steve. Good morning, John. WA1QEH. How old am I? I'm 81, and I'm only half awake this morning. I just woke up about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, so very good. Well, the band seems pretty good, a little noisy, but not too bad. So, how are you doing today, John?
Yeah, doing all right, Louie. Good to hear you this morning. So, it's pretty, the band is pretty noisy over here. No question about it. A lot of static crashes, but you guys are above it, so that's good. Anyway, Steve, I'm 74 and my wife is 77. And I think that's, 77. And, no, she doesn't want to do a transplant, I asked her. I don't think she would qualify. If she got on a list, I don't think she would qualify because of her age and some of the other medical issues that she has. So, but I've asked her several times if she wanted a kidney, because you can, there are places in Europe that you can go and buy a kidney and bypass this list that you get on in the United States. People, they don't donate; they sell their kidneys. And there are, I know some people who have done that there, and a couple of people approached me and said, this service is available. And I asked Marie if she wanted to do that. I said, well, we'll just go find a kidney and buy one for you, and blah, blah, blah. And she said she don't want to go through the process. So there's not much that I can do. I don't know if she's afraid of the surgery or what, but she said no. So, she don't want to go through it. There's not much that I could do. So that's the story with the kidney transplant. Anyway, that's about it. Your buddy, he was doing obviously the peritoneal type of dialysis, which is the fluid around the stomach, and that's the way that they purify the blood. That, like I say, that's a daily thing, and typically they do that when they go to bed because that machine has to run. I believe that process has to run for about 8 or 10 hours, I think. But that's when people typically do that when they go to bed. So, and I know that there are a lot of supplies, a lot of fluids that's required that you have to store when you're doing that type of dialysis. A friend of mine was doing that there. He recently passed away, and he was doing it at home, and it's difficult. There's no question about it. So anyway, on a cheerier note, I know you've been off the air for a while. I don't know if you were around when I ended up buying an Anon and a few other things. I don't know if it's been quite a year. I'd have to look at my note that I put on the side of this equipment, the date that I purchased it, and what I paid for it. But I don't think it's been a year. I don't know, Louis. I think it was this past spring. Yeah, it was this past spring. It was this past spring I ended up buying it from a couple of guys again on 7135. So that's the story, Steve. Back over to you, WA1Y.
Holy smokes, you bit the bullet. Good for you. Wow. Well, I'm intrigued. So when it comes back around, tell me how you've been making out with it. And I know you had a flex there, which you didn't use much. I think you had an issue with something happening with that, and then you never pursued it any further, right? So I'm curious as to how that's been for you. Enjoy playing with it. Curious which Anon it is. I'm assuming you may have bought one new or used. I don't know. 7,000. Who knows? So yeah, let me know. Tell me a little bit more about your experience with that thing. Quite a piece of kit, isn't it? The software. I'm assuming you're running Thetis and stuff like that. So, and I think Louis, did you have or do you have an Anon? I thought you did. Go ahead, K1GMM.
Yeah, I do have one, Steve. I got the 7000 DLE Mark II-G. I've had it for about 7 years now. I got a bunch of radios here, so I just keep rotating between them all. I haven't used the Anon as much as I used to use it, but I do get on it. I think I might turn it on today. Warm it up, get the filaments warmed up. But anyway, I forgot what you're using, Steve. What radio are you using on a break?
Oh, I'm on a Sun radio right now. I still have the little Icom, the 7300, which is over on the shelf. I rarely use it at this point. So I'm just down to the Sun. That's what I did have an Anon 200, the 200D. And I sold that, it must have been this spring sometime. And kind of miss it, to be honest with you. But I used it primarily for the noise, the diversity system. And I don't have it anymore. Somebody, whatever was going on, they shut it off. So I haven't had it in a long time. Gosh, since last fall probably. So I was like, I kind of miss it though. You know what I mean? It's just one of those rigs. Once you get used to it and everything and you unload it, it's like, we all play that game, right? The shoulda, woulda game. Shoulda game. Should have never done that. Usually it's with vehicles though, over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, very good. John, do you know who's got their G2 up for sale?
Probably Charlie.
Absolutely.
No kidding. Why does he want to sell that now?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't talk to him about it at all. I just was on Q-Jet, and I saw it up there for sale.
That's amazing. He really does. He really does move things around rather quickly. Maybe he's Maybe he's considering that new Icom that's going to become available. Who knows? Although he's a software idiot. He likes playing around with that stuff, and you're certainly not going to have the same ability with that Icom that you do with the Anon. Interesting. Well, he still has his 7000. But it'd be interesting to see what he replaces that one with. Steve, I got the 7000 also, the 7000 DOE, and bought that from a couple of guys. You know, a guy we chat with. Matter of fact, I bought a couple of things from a couple of different guys, and they helped me set it up. When I purchased it, it was all set up. I came home. The most difficult thing was getting everything connected, and but the software was installed, parameters were set, and I haven't touched it since. I'm not on it now, and I don't use it that often. But I like the radio. I like the noise canceling feature. There's no question about that. Nice rig. But I don't play around with it like a lot of the other guys. It was a spur of the moment type thing. And if these fellas weren't able to help me out, I probably wouldn't have bought it, because there's no way I would have been able to set that thing up on my own. Forget it. I would have made myself really crazy. But I bought that. I got the matter of fact, when I bought the radio, I bought the computer along with the radio. The guy had just bought a laptop, and that's all I use that laptop for is the Anon. And I also bought one of those Tuner Geniuses, and I bought another Lux amplifier. So all of that happened within a couple of weeks. And the reason I did that, I sold a lot of stuff. I sold two amplifiers that I had and a couple of radios. If I didn't sell that, and I was pretty lucky. I was pretty fortunate, as Louis can attest. All of that stuff was sold locally, where I didn't have to ship anything. And the amplifiers are all large amplifiers, QROs, 922s. What the hell was the other one? I sold a QRO, a 922. I thought there was another amplifier I sold. Jesus, Louis, I can't even remember. I know I got rid of 2 radios, and I thought there were 3 amplifiers. QRO, the 922. Oh, and the Clippin' and L. So I got rid of a whole bunch of stuff and replaced it with more modern stuff. Go ahead, Steve. WA1Y.
Okay, a little break there. I remember you were selling a ton of stuff. So I take it all went. You were able to get rid of all of it. Really quick, how's my signal down there? Because I just looked, and I'm on a wide profile, and I really don't need to be that. Well, I was playing on 4 kilohertz last night, and it's heavy, so I can go to a DX. If you're having a hard time copying me, I'll just switch it. This is a little much if the signal's weak. It's okay when the signal's really strong, but are you hearing me okay? Because you're like peaking 20 over. We're at the critical time. Gray line's coming through, so it's kind of shifting around a bit. Over.
No, he's fine. No problem at all. You're 10 over plus, so no problem copying you at all. Sounds good.
Yeah, same thing here, Steve. You're about 5 or 10 over 9. Hey, there's a PW2 listed on HRO now for sale, and they got a price.
Is that the new amplifier?
That's the new one. They got it. They don't have any, the delivery out of stock, but they're listing it $5,499.95.
Well, I tell you what, those 2 items came in a lot less than we thought they would.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Buy that radio and buy the thing and get into those 2 items for around 11 grand. I mean, instead of the 14 or 15 that we were talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's quite a bit of difference. Yep.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe one of us will get rid of some stuff and pull the trigger on that. Get rid of, we got to spend some of this dough before we croak. You don't want to leave it to anybody.
I know, John. Yep. Yeah, it may happen. You never know.
Hey, you never can tell, because the scavengers are certainly going to spend it.
Oh, that's for sure, yeah.
Anyway, Steve, yeah, the Icom came up with I guess they unveiled their new radio last weekend. Louis has been looking at it online, and it seems to be a pretty nice box.
You know, there was a Luxor sale yesterday, John.
How much are they asking for that?
That was just on a regular listing. I think 38, I want to say. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I think 3,800.
Oh, that seems to be okay. I mean, if you want to buy it new, I guess you're going to spend 43. So save yourself $500. If it hasn't been abused, if you know where it came from.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So how much was the the radio? Have they posted the price on that? I'm assuming the two items you're talking about, one's the new Icom radio and one's the PW2. So how much was is the radio listed for a price? I don't know who gets it. Go ahead, Louis.
Yeah, it not on any of the dealerships. So it's not listed there. At least it wasn't yesterday. But they were going to be asking $6,000.
Okay, that's about half of 7851. I wonder how it. Have you looked at? I tried to get a little bit more information on it, and I couldn't really see. I mean, what's the real difference between that and the 7610? Have they done anything with noise reduction? Employ technology from the 7851? I mean, what's really? I know it's got the remote head, which I'd end up, if I was walking around with that thing in the house, I'd end up dropping it down the stairs and it would be beat to hell probably in about 48 hours. So that scares me a little bit. I'd throw it on the couch and the dog would jump on the couch and stomp all over it. That's my luck. Put his claws all over the display. But I'm curious as to what the big deal is with it. What's the justification for almost doubling in price over the 7610? Go ahead.
Well, it would take another hour to go through all the features and talk about them, Steve. But just for openers, you can remote the head. I'm not talking about remote operation now through a cell phone. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. You can physically put the amplifier up to 24 feet away from the console, on the front of the radio. So if you wanted to mount it at the base of an antenna, you could do that, okay? With just a Cat 6 or Cat 5 cable, all right? Then you could make it remote. You could put it down in the basement and use the land within your house to do that if you wanted to do that. As far as filtering is concerned, it's got 15 bandpass filters in it that you can select. In fact, if you get the right information, you can see they have a beautiful graph that goes, it shows what the new radio looks like with the various filters and the bands, and it shows it directly compared to the 7610. And I mean, the list goes on and on. We could be here 2 hours, talking about it. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. Where can I see? What do I have to do? Go to Icom, probably Icom's direct site, right? To get all the. I didn't go there, and I probably should have. I don't know why I didn't think of that. But is that the place I would go to see that? Yeah, that's interesting. So there's a lot going on with that radio. 15 different filters. Well, that's interesting. So I'm assuming if I went to just Icom Japan or whatever, I could probably see all of that, right?
Well, I can give you an address. Hang on a second here. I can give you an address you can go to if you want to jot it down. You got a pencil in hand?
Yeah, I don't have a piece of paper, but oh, dang it. I'm going to do a text document really quick right on the computer. So, where did it open? Flipping heck. All right, let me minimize this, and there it is. Okay, shoot.
Okay, it's Icom UK, all one word, .co.uk.
Got it. icomuk.co.uk. Cool. Just tuck this over in a safe place. What is with those guys over in the UK, man? They get information on stuff that same with the rig I'm running right here. This little Sun radio. It's most of the information you can get on this is over there in the UK, and it's just for, I don't know how they score that, if it has something to do with the dealerships being big like Martin Lynch and Sons and stuff like that. But they seem to get all the good stuff over.
Yeah, there's another one here which I think is better than the first one I gave you, and it's icomjapan.com. If you go to this one, you can look at the whole book. Icom Japan, all one word, .com.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep that. See, if I have it in front of my face, then I know where I'll never remember. Louis, my brain is shot. Go ahead, you guys. A1GM.
One second more, John. This one is probably the one you want to go to, the icomjapan.com. You can look at both of them, obviously. But this one here gives you a lot of detail. It's a beautiful page. And it's got everything in it that I mentioned to you and so on, plus more. Go ahead, John.
Yep. Oh, I got to take a look at that myself. And it's 200 watts also, Steve. That's another revision they made over the 7610. So, interesting concept. It's nice with those, actually, with all those filters. The remoteable head. I would assume that head you could keep that face on the radio, the body of the radio, if you choose to. Is that correct, Louis?
Yeah, you can, John. You can, or you can detach it, and they have a little saddle, so to speak, that you can put it in, prop it up, and put it on the desk, and it's on a little bit of an angle, so it works out good. Incidentally, yeah, it is a 200-watt radio, John and Steve, but the transistors in there will handle 450 watts, so you can see you're going to get a clean signal.
And then you say it was 100% duty cycle on some of the digital modes?
Yeah, on FT8, yes.
Boy, and I'm assuming their bandwidth is still fixed at 2.9, which, boy, I'll tell you, if it's got a duty cycle like that, that would be a dynamite rig if you could get the bandwidth adjusted even on AM as an AM rig. Usually ricers just don't, they don't perform that well on AM, but, the modulation sucks. And that would be, if it's got that much backbone to it, that would be a banging AM rig as well, because that duty cycle is nice. Like I do play some AM. I'm up on 705 a lot, and I just run a 100-watt carrier, and guys have no problem hearing me with a 100-watt carrier. Sometimes I'll push a 200-watt carrier, but that would be really slick. I've heard, the Kenwood TS890 does really well on AM. I think Gordon, you guys probably know Gordon, W2GOR. He's running, I think, an 890. So that's the one rice box that seems to be, it's probably the best one out there. I don't know about the old Yaesus. I don't know, but that Kenwood can sing. Over.
Oh yeah, the old Yaesu, the FT 1000 MP Mark V. I got one sit right here in front of me. Does excellent on AM.
Yeah. That's actually one of the goodies. I talked to a friend of mine in the UK a year ago. 2 years ago now, probably. He had one. He said, boy, if you're looking for an old Yaesu, that's the mother right there. That is a good radio. He said that most guys that sell them wish they never did. They always speak very highly of that rig.
Yeah, I got a 5000 here also, but it's not on the desk. sitting downstairs all boxed up to go somewhere. It does have the dim LEDs, OLEDs in the front panel. They're dim, but other than that, the radio is perfect. Plus, I have the DMU unit to go with it, and just want to get rid of it. Very, very, very good price.
Well, that's tempting. I watched. That's a rig I've been looking for. I've been leery of the OLED issues, and then I watched a video for how to repair that. It's fairly in depth, but it's not hard. It's just, keeping track of all the screws and everything. You got to rip the front of the radio basically apart, from what I saw. But you can fix it yourself. It's not, like surface mount soldering like that. It's just, it's tedious from what I understand. Over.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested, I'll give you my phone number. You're in Vermont, I'm in New Hampshire, so we're not too far apart. That's absolutely the only thing wrong with the radio is the dim OLEDs. And being the fact that I have the DMV unit to go with it, you plug in a 19-inch screen and you got the same information on the main screen.
Yeah, it's always been one of my dream rigs because I used to work a lot of events, and I'll push it over to you, John. You can pick it up. I used to work a lot. I'm very casual, not hardcore, but I always looked at that radio and I thought, boy, if I was going to really get into hardcore contesting, event work, and stuff like that's the monster. That's the killer right there. As a standalone set, you know what I mean? One of my dream sets. Unfortunately, I really don't have the antenna system anymore to even play in that arena, and nor do I have the desire. So that's why I kind of put the brakes on everything. It's just too much work, and it's too frustrating. And I'm too old. Go ahead, John. K1GMM.
Very good. Very good. Well, it's too bad because I know Louis put a price on that radio that you'd never find anywhere. And all his stuff is in prime condition, as we're all aware. But anyway, I still can't believe that HRO couldn't accommodate you, Louis, all the money you spent up there when you wanted to trade that radio in. Unbelievable. So, and another thing that radio has is that new Icom, Steve, is they got their own version of pure signal on there. And not sure whether or not it'll work with anything other than the PW2. That determination hasn't been determined yet by some of the guys who've looked at that radio. But that's another thing that they've incorporated in it. So they seem to be covering a lot of the bases on some of the latest technology. Go ahead, Louis.
Yeah, they do, John. It's W1QEH, right? Yeah, it's got two dual, completely independent receivers, just like the 7851. I'll tell you, it's got a lot of stuff in it. Yeah, it got a lot more reading to do. You read these things that they're quite involved, and you have to sit back and think about them. And I mean, you could read the booklet in 5 seconds, obviously, but you can't think about it that fast. At least I can't. But what I wanted to do, Steve, was I wanted to trade in the 5,000 along with the DMU unit to HRO, and I told them right up front everything was fine except the dim OLEDs, and they wouldn't take the trade in. So I bought the 7610 and I bought the FT710 from DX Engineering. And so they lost out on 2 sales. Could you believe that?
Wow. This is now which dealer? Well, it probably doesn't matter, but which dealership? Obviously, you probably dealt with New Hampshire, right? HRO?
Yeah, it was in Salem. Yeah. And, I never asked them what I wanted for it. I mean, they could have said to me, we'll give you $100 for it, and I would have said yes. They were really, really stupid, I'll tell you. And not to bore John to death, but over the last 20 years, 20 to 22 years, I have physically spent in excess of $50,000 at that store in Salem, and they still wouldn't take the radio. And they knew what I spent. They looked me up.
That's freaking crazy. It does make sense because before I sold the 200D, I called them and I said, hey, I've got a non 200D here, high demand. They'd sell that in under probably an hour if they put it on the website. I mean, it took literally 5 minutes to sell that radio. It hit QTH and boom, I got it. Someone said, I'll take it. Didn't even negotiate the price. He said, I'll take it. I was like, okay. Some guy out west bought it, Midwest. And they told me, they said, no, we don't take any of those on trade. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding. They could have offered me like, $800 or $1,000, turn around, sold that for $1,600 to $1,800. And they wouldn't have even, you know what I'm saying? Now it is, that's a niche radio. We all know that. Most of the guys there probably don't even know how to hook one up and run it, So that does make sense to me. They'd have to have someone in the shop that knows those radios that could throw it on a computer, light it up, check it in Thetis, make sure everything works, and then go ahead and resell it. But so I kind of do understand that, but. Yeah, they were. I didn't even get done asking them, and he shut me down. But that's crazy. What happened to you? Over.
Oh yeah. I spoke to him one day, the manager, and he says, "Well, let me get back to you." And 2 days went by. I didn't hear from him, so I called him up again, and I said, "You remember me? I'm that guy. Blah blah blah. And he says, "Oh yeah." He says, "Well, we decided." I decided not to take it. He didn't say, he didn't use the word we. I don't think he consulted corporate at all. He said I, and so that was that. And I said, well, okay. But literally, if he offered me $100, I would have taken it. I just physically wanted to get it removed, So anyway, something that John mentioned earlier on the new radio, on the 7760, is the predistortion. They do have it there. They call it digital predistortion, and they got two beautiful graphs of it to show you how it works. And it works with the PW2. I don't know about anything else, though, Steve.
I was curious. That was going to be a question I had. So how does it? I'm assuming it doesn't work like the Apache Lab stuff does. I'm assuming it probably communicates through the CIV cable, because you don't need a coupler for that or any kind of provide a feedback loop, an RF loop, right? A sample for sampling. So they must be doing it through the CIV or something, right?
I don't know. They do list a DPD, a digital predistortion feedback cable, and they have a part number for it, and they say it is required when using with the PW2. That's all they really say. They don't go any further here on what I'm looking at.
Oh, okay. So it's just a cable. So the CIV must be strictly for control, and then they do have a separate cable. That's interesting. And it must be all automatic, right? I'm assuming it's all automatic. Like Jerry's played with it on the rig itself with the firmware. I know that. And that does work, even coming into the using the solid state amp with no feedback, no sampling out of the amplifier itself. It works amazingly well, according to what I see on my Spectrum. But holy crap, see if it's easy. Like John, you know the Anons, they're a little tricky. You start getting into the settings. What the heck is that, Louis? Oh gosh, I can't remember now. See, I forget so quick. It's the area where you check linearity checks and stuff like that. You have to know what you're looking at. There's a little bit there to kind of hack through. But yeah, it sounds to me like Icom just handles it for you, which is really nice because most people could give a crap less about that technical stuff. If they want to get into that, they'll just go buy an Anon. If it's plug and play, that appeals to the masses. Go ahead, John. K1GM.
I gotta go pour a cup of coffee, John. I'll be right back.
Okay, Louie. WA1Y. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be said for the plug and play stuff. And like I said, if it wasn't for those guys I bought the radios, the Anon from, helping me out getting it set up, I don't think I would have made that purchase. To be perfectly honest, it's pretty difficult if you don't have the know-how and haven't been subject to this stuff. It's pretty difficult for someone who's never played with an Anon to get it set up on their own. You need some assistance. But it worked out okay. Like I say, before I left that guy's house, all the parameters were set. There's only one thing I haven't done is I got to go into all those different tabs and set up and what have you. Take some photographs of what the settings are with my phone in the event something happens, and I can put everything back to where it was. I haven't done that yet, but I should. So anyway, but that radio seems to be pretty nice, that Icom rig. But everybody thought that radio was going to be, when they saw the tees with all of the boards they had at Dayton, everybody thought it was going to be, in the $10,000 to $12,000 price range. It certainly came in a lot less than that. And they were thinking that amplifier was going to be somewhere in the, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 range, and that came in considerably less. So they're at the maximum. I think that's the maximum price point for most people. Most people, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 is about the limit that they'll spend on a radio or an amplifier these days, it seems. And they're right at that high limit on those items, but they're not at that ridiculous limit of 10 or 12 grand. I can't see spending $10,000, $12,000 for a radio and $10,000 for an amplifier. That seems to be a bit ridiculous. WA1Y.
W1QEH back.
Good morning, W1JW.
Oh, good morning, Jerry.
Hello, Jerry.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, good morning, Jerry.
So anyway, that's the story. So, Jerry, what's going on, pal?
Oh, no. I was up from like 12 o'clock to 3:30 on 20 meters. Boy, that was hopping. And then I went back to bed at 3:30 and just got up.
Oh, really? A lot of activity, huh? So you made a lot of contacts?
Well, half a dozen.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
It's about the ham radio, so you can't sleep, you come and play.
God bless you, Jerry. I don't know how you could go back to
Anyway,
sleep after
everybody,
doing that.
I take it, is doing good. You guys talking about the new Icom? Sounds like it's a pretty nice radio. Yeah, it does have the detachable head, but it's really not made to like sit in the living room with or take outside on the picnic table. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to, but it's really just to offset the size of the rig. Put the base somewhere and then the remote somewhere else and leave it. At least that's my take on it.
Oh, you're exactly right, Jerry. Yeah, because you still have to have a couple of cables in 12 volt connected to it.
So there's no Wi-Fi availability on that?
I haven't run across it yet. No, you're beginning to take the whole concept out of texture. You know what I mean? It's a remote head, but they're not saying that you can go for a walk with it.
Which does make sense because, like I said before, I would end up dropping I'd be walking around the house with it and drop it or something like that. So if it's got to be tethered, you're not going to be walking around with that thing. You trip on the cord, break the connector off, or rip the friggin' thing out of the back of it. Probably not a good idea. So I'm wondering, I bet you can still remote it though, right? Jerry, you probably, because you're a big remote guy. I would imagine it's still, does it have a built-in server just like the 7610 has?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's exactly like that. So, and I'll be honest with you. When I used to have the Maestro, now that was fully remotable Wi-Fi, and it had a battery and all that stuff, and it worked well. However, it's much better, in my opinion, to do it with a laptop because, with the Maestro, all I could do was control the radio. With the laptop, I could control the radio. I could bring up my logbook, anything I wanted to do. So it was so much versatile than just using the Maestro. So I think the way they did it is good. Have that so-called remote head for breaking up the radio as needed, and then do the remote with a laptop or a Apple tablet.
Really quick, I've always said that with the Icom remote system, I know you could do it with a Flex too, but how cool is it? You could take that even that remote head, right? So I'm in the basement. I have the main radio in the basement. Take the remote head and stick it in, how you have a desk or whatever. I could sit by the picture window, put that remote head. It's probably got some kind of, does it have a kickstand maybe or something? You could just place it on the table there and just freaking leave it there and run the radio from the comfort of your living room or something like that. And the entire system would take up no space, nothing. You could actually put it in a cabinet. Nobody even know what was there. Open the cabinet door, slide the thing out. That's it. You're off and running. I think that's pretty cool, personally. If you saw the way my station is now, it is you wouldn't even know this is a ham radio station except for the fact that one piece would be unidentifiable to the average person. Well, the three pieces would be, but they're all small. There's a giant watt meter, there's a small power supply, and there's a remote head for the PW1. That's it. That's all that's on the desk. It's like a freaking dance floor. There's no radio sitting here. There's no nothing. It's all in the other room. And I like that. It's so clean. You know what I mean? It's not this big. I mean, I used to have a big freaking mess, piles of crap on the desk and switches. And oh my God, now I'm down to just one switch because I have no remote. I don't have to drive any relays or anything for the antenna systems. So yeah, it's very, very clean and I love it. The only thing is now I have to keep cleaning the top of the desk because I spill coffee all over it. I didn't even have a place to put my coffee cup down before. Anyways, go ahead. Go ahead, Jared. I put it back to you. I'm going to run up and grab some more coffee. K1GMM.
Yeah, I got to find push the talk switch. Yeah, that'll be a really a nice radio for the people that want to go and spend the money. Yeah, and I didn't notice anything on the bandwidth either. I was wondering about that, if they let that open up a little bit. You would think on a radio at that price they would, let you go 3.6, 3.8 or something like that, but they seem to be holding pretty tight to their 3 kc bandwidth. You didn't see anything on that, Louis, did you?
No, I've looked. The only thing I've run across is, that little extra screen that they have on the front of the radio. It shows the bandwidth, and but they don't say what it is. But I'm assuming that they probably follow suit with other radios, and it's not any wider than any.
I'm going to just run upstairs quick. Anybody watching, I'm going to leave it on here. It's kind of an interesting conversation about the new Icom. So this is kind of, I'll retitle it so people.
It's not a full-time thing. Once you enable it, you turn the radio off and turn it back on. It's not there anymore. You have to turn the radio off. You have to hold the two buttons down at the same time and turn the radio back on. Then you can access it again. It'll stay there, but be gone the next time you turn the radio off.
Yeah, you're talking about the bandwidth?
The bandwidth, you can go 50 to 4K on the 710.
Yeah. That's what I'm on now, is a 710.
Yeah, we're on the 7610.
Oh, I did that yesterday.
We got to get some chemicals in this pool. It is starting to turn.
But what's the water getting green?
Yeah, it's starting to get green. Can't treat it until the 5th.
Well, that's a couple of more weeks.
Yeah, so nobody's really going in it. But yeah, it'll be here soon. I mean, let's face it, pool weather's pretty gone. You know, I think we're going to be in the 70s by then. You'll have a couple warm days, but unless you turn the heater on, it's going to be uncomfortable.
So that pool, is that pool going to have a cover on it?
Yeah, supposed to. I haven't seen it yet, but that they're supposed to put a cover on it.
Now, what about I know the pool's heated. You don't have to worry about putting one of those balls that they put in there for expansion when it freezes.
Well, if you're not going to heat it, I would think you probably do. I think you're going to have to empty it, lower it way down, and do exactly what you just said. If you plan on keeping it warm enough not to freeze during the summer, you won't have to do that. But that's a lot of coin, I would think.
I was just going to say it's going to cost a small fortune in the winter to keep that going.
I get a feeling they're going to play with it this year and find out that they don't want to do it.
Yeah, when they get that electric bill in January, they say, I don't think this is worth it.
Yeah, so there's two covers. There's a winterizing cover that's already here. Snap it in place and you can cover it. And they're supposed to get a solar cover that's kind of on a reel that you can pull from one end. And that is not on there yet, so I don't know what's going on with that.
So what is this solar cover supposed to do? What's the purpose of that versus a conventional cover?
Well, solar cover, you pull over a pool, it will heat the water from the sun.
So to the point where, you can get in it in the winter?
Negative. It only really supplements it during the summertime.
Oh, okay.
Keeps it
All right.
heated at night and helps it heat up a little bit during the day.
Oh, okay. All right.
I would have got one of those old claw bathtubs and just put it in the backyard.
I don't know. Most people who put pools in, I don't know if that enhances or degrades the value of the property. A lot of times people don't want those things in their yard.
Well, the house we bought, first house had a brand new 24-foot diameter pool in the backyard. And first thing I did was take it out. And then years later, when the kids came along and stuff, I had another one put in. But you're right. Some people don't want them.
They've had to remove many of those in order to sell the house.
Now, when you say if you winterize that, you got to drain the pool a little bit. Where do you drain that water to? I mean, you have to be careful about where that water goes.
I'd pump it out onto the street like everybody else on the street does.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, no noise level here yet. No morning noise, so.
Not really, nothing, huh?
By the time it goes away.
This is a really tricky noise deal here.
I was hanging in there all day yesterday. I don't really know what it is.
Yeah, no, I remember you saying that.
Oh, Jerry Louis said that they got a price on that new amplifier from Icom is not as expensive as we all thought. It's would you say, Louis, $5,500?
Yeah, 5,500. The PW2. It's advertised on HRO, Jerry.
Yeah, that's not too bad. You know, you figure the radio and the amplifier, you're going to do it for 11K. I think they're going to be pretty successful.
Yeah, well, that 6K for the new radio, that might go up slightly because they got to put import charges and that kind of thing. So I don't know how accurate that 6K is. It could go plus or minus, you know.
Yeah, same with the amplifier too. So, yeah, it still might cost more money. It'd be interesting to see how it works out for people.
Well, the amplifier, obviously, HRO has published the price, so they've already taken all that stuff into consideration.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I thought I was going to have to take Terry to the ER this morning. You just wouldn't believe how she was hacking last night. It was just going on and on and on. And I said, we're going to go first thing in the morning if this continues. So she got to bed and she simmered down and she didn't cough once last night. And she seems to be okay now. Kind of weird
that's
cold.
good.
Did you take a COVID test?
She did, and she came out negative. I did not take it because mine just started getting better, and hers seemed to get better, but then it seemed to go south yesterday, and now it seems to be better again.
That's good. Well, let's keep an eye on her.
I'll take a COVID if I have to, but I think I'm past having a problem.
Well, they say that I was listening yesterday, that Democrat convention, a lot of people who went there got COVID.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, Jerry. John.
To rear its ugly head again this time of year.
Yeah.
Any crowds you get in, boy, the chances increase dramatically.
Well, thank God it's not as serious as it used to be. I personally don't want to catch it. I caught it, but it was pretty mild. Of course, I've had all my shots too, and there's so much talk out there. Shots don't make any difference and stuff like that. But I guess it depends on what you believe. I do believe that all of these shots have changed the mutation of this thing, and it has changed things in your body so that when you get it, it's not as serious as it could be. But I really don't know.
Well, I know Pfizer is getting ready to push another updated version. I know Marie asked me the other day if I was going to get it, and I told her no. I told her, you want to get it, I'll take you, but I'm all done with the shots.
Oh, yeah, I've only had the first two, the ones that they very first came out with, and that's it for me.
John, you don't want any of those tracking chips inside of your body?
Yeah, I guess that was some rumor that was started. And do people actually believe that?
Yeah, I think they do.
All right. This has gone a direction I am not willing to partake in. So I'm going to kill it here. Have a good day, everybody. I thought that Icom discussion was kind of interesting. And I guess we will call it quits. I wanted to ask John about his, what do you call it there? The Yaesu 101D. He's got a 101D, and I wanted to pick his brain a little bit more, find out how much he's used it. He's got a bunch of radios, but he kind of cycles through them, doesn't use it all the time. So anyways, have a good day, everybody. We'll see you later. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for the support on the channel. And you guys, anybody who watches this, you're probably not even going to get to the end because it may not interest a lot of people, but forget it. I'm going to post another video. I'm not going to say it. Anyways, actually, let's go up and check. I'm going to check, see if anybody's on 705. They are. So let's jump to AM.
Year anywhere. I know he was, I think that morning had a doctor's appointment or something. And then let's see who else. Oh, the other morning I heard from Paul too, WA3VJB. He says now that it's getting, daylight a little bit later, he might end up getting in with us. And then who else? We had that guy Steve that was in with us. K1GMM. So okay, where some of these guys are. And then Paul, KC2CKO, maybe he's up at camp or some sort of thing. So I'm wondering what's happened to the cast of thousands of why it's just you and me with Chris off to the side getting a cup of coffee or down on the upper deck, as it were, maybe where these guys are. So who knows? Oh, well. Anyway, yeah. All interesting. So I guess then there were some series that one team got no games, and the Yankees were involved, it sounds like, with two of those. Imagine if you're a White Sox fan and having to wait 88 years for your guys to get in the World Series, not necessarily win a World Series. Well, you know what? I should look.
We'll play a little bit of AM here. They're talking about me, so I got to jump in. I just got to.
Next transmission, I'll look up how many World Series have the White Sox been in. So they've only won 3 ever. I'll have to look up how many years they were actually World Series. So back at you while I'm looking that up. N2LJO, K2XAM, maybe your group.
K1GMM.
Hey, there's Steve. Get it right over to you. Good morning. And, I just looked up something interesting. I brought up the sweeps in chronological order. Now, listen to this. Holy mackerel. 1927, 1928, 1932, 1938, 1939, and then a little gap, 1950. The Yankees were in the World Series and they swept every one after the other, after 6, not in a row every year after year, but the 6 World Series that they were in between 1927 and 1950, they swept every one of them. Wow, that's pretty amazing. And, look at the Red Sox had to wait, was it 86 years, I think? 1918, we used to go chant 1918. Couldn't do that anymore once they won in 2004, which was brutal. That was brutal. The Yankees were up 3-0 in the playoffs against the Red Sox, and the rest we know, with Schilling and his bloody sock, and I think Mariano had 2 outs and 2 strikes in Game 4, and one of the rare times he couldn't close it out. And my mother was in the hospital checking out on her way out, and I was staying at her place some nights, and coming back home other nights, and she didn't have cable at all. and I wound up listening, I think, to the games. But 86 years, and I think there was something with 86 years. If you look at how long the Yankees played at the original Yankee Stadium, I think it was also 86 years, which kind of makes you wonder, ties into the curse of the Bambino and all of that. So I don't know, but I know with the Red Sox it was 86 years, and we used to enjoy at the Yankee games when they were playing the Red Sox, chanting 1918, but couldn't do that anymore. All right, anyway, Steve, let me send it over to you, and when you're done, leave a hole for Chris, HA1G, otherwise I guess Kevin will pick it back up. Is it K1? I'm sorry, K1GMM? I think that's wrong. And 2 LJO.
Hey, good morning. I'll leave a little break there. And Chris, if you're listening, it'll come your way. If not to Kevin. But yeah, good morning. My ears burst into flames. I was down the band a ways, and I was like, let's go check out what's going on 705. And then just as I jumped on here, about 5 seconds later, I heard my name, and I thought, okay, I'm going to come in and bore the crap out of everybody. So how's that? I'm just struggling to get on the radio. I'm not sleeping well, but I'm up at like 3 every morning, kind of trying to figure out what am I going to do. I usually come down here and kind of surf around and listen around a little bit. So, got the pellets are all done, and we're in good shape. 4 ton, 8,000 pounds of little pellets, which I had to do by hand. So needless to say, my arms are a little longer than they used to be. I'm glad it's over, but there's a lot more crap to do here at the house. But those are fascinating statistics you were talking about. Good Lord, that's a long time. People who know that must be coming unhinged. Chris, over to you. If not, I guess Kevin picks it up. And good morning all the way around. K1GMM.
AJ1G back. Let me see if I got it. Do I have it? Okay, yeah. Back a few pounds lighter here. That's all I'll say. Okay, good morning, Steve. I guess you came in, George, Kevin. I have no idea what's been discussed since my last transmission. Just got back down. In fact, I'm going to have to sign out. I'll make this my final. I got to get ready to head down to Groton. Dentist appointment, possibly renew my driver's license, and bunch of other errands. I wonder if anyone, listen out though, George, I wonder if you had any bad storms yesterday. We dodged the bullets, so actually the hail. We had another hail forecast. In fact, everyone was commenting on a Facebook page. Someone put a report up that they've already had their roof replaced as a result of the disaster we had down here on the 15th of August, a week ago Thursday. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. And we were saying, just in time for the next one. But we didn't get any hail here. However, up to the east, up in the beach, up in, where I go fishing on the beaches in Charlestown and east end of Westerly, they got hammered. And I was just talking to Glenn, N1SNG, up on 3885 over in North Kingstown. They really got hammered with like a microburst. He said he actually felt when he went outside, when he started seeing hail, or he poked his head out, he said it was really, really cold. So they must have got hit with a big microburst. A big chunk of cold air got dumped out of the storm. And he had fairly big hail there, and the sky was black, a lot of damage to his gardens. Doesn't know about the roof or the cars yet, but sounds like they got hit maybe as bad as us, if not worse. So a lot of it going around. We filed with our local insurance agency, which was a godsend. I'll never do the online dealing directly with an insurance agency. It's really nice to have an intermediary and a local agent to handle all that crap on her computer. We're setting up potential claim for the roof and also for the car. I ended up finding a whole bunch more dings on the Volvo on the side that was facing to the northwest, which is where the storm came from. Not down low, but up high, up above the windows, between the windows and the flat part of the roof, that curved area there, the corner there. It's all dinged up, and the hood's all dinged up, and a little on the roof, which you never see. But apparently these Dent Wizard guys maybe can knock those out relatively cheap, and we'll see. But I only have a $50 deductible on comprehensive, which is where it is covered. But a $5,000 deductible on property damage. So if we have to do a roof work, we're going to probably eat a large chunk of it. It was $20,000 to do the whole roof 2 years ago. All right, I think it probably will go to George, I'm guessing here, but whoever's supposed to get it, pick it up. I'll say 73 for now. Everyone have a great day. Catch you in the morning. AJ1G.
Just what have you almost done with my frequency?
It should have gone to Kevin. Is that Jamie?
It's up to you.
You or Jamie first?
Take it, and then I'll take it. How's that?
Okay, guys, I'm in no rush. I've been here for a while working, but guys in there. I just wanted to check in. Good morning, George. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Chris. Good morning to you, Kevin. All is well down here, Kevin. I just got the building kind of opened up, airing the place out, and I'm working here. So go ahead, K2XAM. This is N2VJ.
All right, N2VJ. When you say airing the building out, that means you're letting the flies in, and I'm going to be swatting flies all day. So, Chris, wow. So we did not have anything up here in the way of storms. It was an almost perfect day. I'll say that. It did cloud over a couple of times. And when I was sitting in the dentist chair, they brought me back up and I said, hey, does it look like it's raining out? She's like, no, the windows are tinted in here. I'm like, well, it didn't look that way 5 minutes ago when you dropped me down. Come on. But it never really did rain. And so forth. Anyways, so a bunch of stuff here. So yes, the Red Sox went from 1918 to 2004, the curse of the Bambino. But they had won actually quite a few World Series in 1903, 1912, 1915, 16, 18, 2004, 2007, 2013, and 2018. So not bad at all. And let's see. And then shifting gears over to the White Sox. The White Sox have had 5 appearances in the World Series all time. So I guess they've been kind of maybe not the best team ever if they've only had 5 appearances compared to all of those appearances that the Red Sox ended up making. And I didn't look up the Yankees, but I know you probably know the Yankees statistics right off the top of your head. Anyways, so George, and we haven't heard Kathy in here. She hasn't made any comments. Did she head out to work early or haven't we gotten, I guess maybe none of us have said anything to warrant any her yelling comments from 20 feet away. George, over to you. And good morning, Steve, as well. Let's see. N2LJO, K2XAM in the group.
Yeah, I'm in the group, N2LJO. 73 to Chris, and good morning to Jamie. She's been in and out and rushing around. Say hello. Hello. She just said hello. And she's not out the door yet, but she will be. And, well, I think it was it 1920, right? When the Yankees got Ruth from the Red Sox. So if they won in 1918, yeah, that was that. No wonder they call it the curse of the Bambino, right? And, what's interesting about Ruth, though, you look at his statistics as a pitcher.
No, it was, considered the dead ball era when he was a pitcher, meaning like they used the same ball. Somebody hit a home run, they got the ball back and gave it back to the pitcher, and they kept playing with it. And the ball would get darker and sometimes out of round, and they kept playing with it. But there were no night games either. So Root's numbers as a pitcher are remarkable. If you look him up, he was something like 98 and 20, some ridiculous number. And today, I guess he'd be like Shohei Ohtani, but when he came to the Yankees, they stopped pitching. He did pinch a couple of times for them in a pinch, and those statistics show up when you look up his pitching stats. And all right, on the pellets, boy, you must burn a lot of pellets there, Steve. We put a pellet stove in 2 years ago. And we still have the oil heat, forced air upstairs here, and then hot water baseboard downstairs, which still gets used, but the pellet stove takes a lot of the load off of that. And last year, right around September, October, I bought 2 pallets of pellets, which is 80 bags, which was, let's see, what is that, 3,200, right? They're 40-pound bags, I think, right? Oh, no, it would have been 100. Yeah, it was 4,000, 2 tons. It was 4,000 pounds because there was 50 bags, 50 40-pound bags on each pallet. And I wound up with about a half a pallet left. And that was primarily because in February I had the flu. I mean, yes, February I had the flu, not like February 10th to February 18th, the month of February. And I was in bed and I could not be bothered just, filling up the stove and everything. And so the stove didn't get used 1 month. I probably would have burned through most of those 25 bags that I have left. But I'm going to get another pallet. And I had some comments for Chris, but he's gone, so that doesn't make sense. So that's about it. So back to Steve, and then to Jamie, to Kevin, Tinkers to Evers to Chance, K1GMM, and 2LJO.
N2LJO, K1GMM, yeah. We do. That's our primary source. We actually have 2 pellet stoves. There's one in the basement, which we only run on the coldest nights. If it goes to like 10 above 0 or below, 10 to 20 below, 10 above to 20 below, 25 below, 24 below, which we see often. But so we generally blow through, I would say about 3 ton. I always have like a ton of buffer. And I'm planning on running the stove in the basement much more, as I'm doing more things in the basement. The laundry is in the basement, so and it gets pretty cold down there. I'm in the basement. The shack is in the basement, if you call it that. But this room is an old studio, so it's double drywalled, insulated with solid doors, and with the dehumidifier running, it's actually incredibly warm in here. So don't really need it for that, but it's nice because it keeps the floors warm. In the house, it's just a small ranch house, so it's a medium-sized pellet stove. Don't know the BTUs downstairs, but it'll just idle along. Burns a bag a day. We've got a big stove upstairs, which heats technically. It's big. Never run it on anything more than low. You put it on, I can't remember how many step settings there are, but if you ran it on high, I mean, it would blow us right out of the freaking house. It's made to heat a house that's like 3 times the size of ours. Overkill, right? It does pretty good. A bag a day. Go through a bag a day on that. So, bag times 30. It's got to get us, I figure, steady. It has to get us from, I would say, the beginning of December right through beginning of April, safely, right? That's like, if you do the math, there's a little bit of a buffer there. So we'll probably pick up some more, but only 10 bags at a time. I wish I could have had them dropped at the house on pallets. That's what I wanted. But everybody's like a month and a half out just to get them. And I'm like, I ain't waiting that long. It's cold in the mornings here. It's been cold. I've actually had it running already just to take the chill off the house in the morning. So I ain't waiting that long. So I did it all manually. Lug and shuffle. So anyways, let's go over to N2VJ, Jamie. Good morning. And unfortunately, this will be my last one. I got things happening upstairs. I got to run up there quick. There's a little bit of racket, and I want to make sure the daughter's not going to burn down the house. N2VJ, K1GMM. Nice hearing everybody. We'll see you.
Okay, Steve. Geez, now I forgot to call N2KM GMM. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. This is N2VJ. Good to hear you in there, Steve. And I'm on the wood stove list too. I don't want to be limited with a pellet stove. I really would. And I've been entertaining a Hawkins, but I think basically right now, just for the short term, I'm just gonna throw a wood stove in there, blast a hole in the wall, and put some insulated stovepipe in, along with all the normal other various and sundry fire protection techniques you do with a wood stove. I've always had great success with wood stoves. Even in a mobile home when I had the Redneck Riviera, good God, man, it would drive you out. And my cat would lay underneath that stove and, you'd touch him and his fur would be really hot to touch. I was amazed that he could stand it under there. When he did, he had no problem with it. So that's on the list on the new place too. And making good headway there too, except, man, I'm blasting out this big rock hedgerow right now where my driveway is going to be. The DPW already put in the code.
All right, you guys, I'm going to
start to look like a driveway now.
duck out.
For the,
We'll
what
catch you
was